Welcome back to Billy Mac Makes. Are you finding that your job site table saw isn't quite giving you enough power to make it all the way through a hardwood cut? Is it tripping a circuit partway through? Is it leaving really disgusting burn marks on your wood? They're not as powerful as those beautiful 3 and even 5 horsepower saw stop machines, but you can still get the job done. Right? You don't have to upgrade, and it might even be easier than you think. Stick around. I recently picked up a couple of CMT blades to try and alleviate the underpowered saw problem I'm experiencing with my DeWalt 745. Sure, it's got 1.5 horsepower, but I'm not sure all that energy is making it into every single cut. These are both thin kerf saw blades. Crosscut, ripping, and by being thin kerfed, they actually are removing less material, which means your saw doesn't have to work as hard to get through some of those tough hardwoods like maple and walnut. If you really want to maximize performance in your table saw, you might want to switch over to having a dedicated blade for those specific tasks. You can still have your general duty blade for doing all your sheet goods and all of that stuff. But if you were going to set about doing a lot of rips, let's say you're going to batch out some cutting boards, you're making a beautiful piece of furniture and you needed some really clean cross cuts, that's when you want to bring out these saw blades. So the difference between these, and this is really quick, I watched a video by Jonathan Katz-Moses where he really goes into the science and has some unbelievable slow motion footage of all the different types of blades, and I'll link that down below. But basically, the ripping blade has fewer teeth, 24, 30, big gullets between the teeth, and that really helps clear out the sawdust when you're making those long rips that can be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 feet long, where the blade has an opportunity to really heat up. Far more teeth, maybe 60 to 80 teeth on your fine cross-cutting blades. Not nearly as much room to remove the sawdust, but typically a crosscut is going to be a much shorter cut, and you're going to be done the cut more quickly, giving less time for that heat to build up. So why don't we compare what my old blade, which is a really cheap blade that I bought to replace my DeWalt blade that came with the saw when it finally wore out, and I haven't been happy with it. It's not doing a great job. So we're going to put it through its paces. I have a big slab of 8/4 or 2-inch thick hard maple, and we're going to do some rips and cross cuts with that blade, and we'll check out the result. Then we'll put in the dedicated blades and see how they do and what the result looks like on that. And I'll give you my feedback on how easy or difficult it was to push the stock through as it was fighting the power to get through this material. Wow. Look at all of those burn marks as it was going through here. This blade is not very good. It was hard to push that through. I could really feel I had to work hard to get it through. Yes, this is a tall task, a 2-inch thick piece of hard maple, but let's see if we can do any better with the thin kerfed CMT ripping blade. Wow, what a difference when you compare. This is my offcut from the new CMT blade, and this is the offcut from the other blade. Massive, massive upgrade. It also felt like it was going through the wood so much easier. I didn't have to push nearly as hard. The saw wasn't working nearly as hard. And you feel this and it just feels glass smooth. So that's a nice rip and really couldn't be happier. That's a great rip, and how could you be more satisfied than comparing those side by side and seeing just how much better a dedicated, thin kerfed ripping blade is going to do for you. Let's check out the crosscut blade now. Well, there you go. The difference between my old blade and this one. So clearly you can see I was having some issues with that other blade, but it really wasn't that old. Maybe just a couple months old. So buying a poor quality blade, that's not going to help you make clean cuts. Using a full kerfed blade in a smaller job site saw, that's not going to help you make clean cuts through hard stock or thick stock. Going to the right equipment can really help. I still have a general purpose blade that I'll use for my sheet goods, but when I'm going to be doing some boxes and I need beautiful mitered corners, I know this is going to give me an edge that's not going to require a whole lot of work after I'm finished, right? If you're cross-cutting the edges of a cutting board, you're going through hardwood, you don't want to have to try and sand away those burn marks. So having the right piece of equipment, it's going to go a long way. I hope that helps and you guys are able to use this information and, get more out of your saw without needing to upgrade your saw. So perhaps you'll consider hitting that like button and maybe even subscribe and see what videos I have coming out in the future. Thanks for stopping by. Take care.